Hey guys, Midnight Sun here. We're going to be doing a no cash run of the Necromancer, and something that got pointed out to me is that for console players it's extremely difficult to do if they're trying to follow along with the PC. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to stitch in some of the console gameplay as well for this. This is currently on PC, but I'll throw in some console things here as well, so you guys can see that what I'm suggesting here is possible on the console. Now overall, I would recommend if you're on console just opening the cache for a much easier time leveling, or alternatively, if anything, suggest you start on a really high difficulty and it's a struggle for you and it seems like you can't do it, just don't do that. The alternative method that we could do on console is just start on master difficulty, go straight to the cube, kill all the enemies along the way to the cube, get to level 18. Once you're on level 18, you get your 2 gems, and then you just run some bounties for acts like 1 and 2, the faster bounties to complete to get your gems to level up. Now, that being said, the first tip that we're going to do here is if we go over to the follower weapons, we're going to want to take and equip the javelin here from the Templar. And I usually like to hire him as well. So we're going to get a little bit more protection here. This is currently not in hardcore, but this is hardcore friendly. And if you look at my stash here, you'll see that I've got the Challenge Rift cache and I've got some of the additional follower weapons in here. Now that is because if I really want my follower to do a little bit of extra damage, I could take these things back out from here and give them back to my follower, or just not take them in the first place. And the way that I did this was I just created another character, went over here, grabbed the follower weapons, and then gave them back to the follower, and then made the one that I'm going to do the run on. So nothing stopping you guys from doing that. Gives the follower his damage while you still get his weapons and you still have enough to scrap over here or salvage here. So we're going to salvage those and go to the first node over here and unlock the first node on the altar. Now after doing that, we want Act 2 bounties. And we're looking for either Zoltan Kuhl or Magda. And if we don't have that, we're going to reset the game. Now, something to be aware of for the console players. Zoltan Kuhl is extremely difficult on console. For whatever reason, I don't know why, if it's like bugged or something like that, or if it's just the way that the difference between like console and PC just kind of naturally is. But if you go to him and you try and fight him, he will teleport towards you when he's on like 10% health and do massive amounts of damage, and it's extremely difficult to do. Now I have done it, but it is not easy. Let's see what this is. This is kill all enemies in the Cave of the Burning Horrors level 2. So right now what we're doing is we're snapshotting, and anytime the monsters are out in the open here, like this one, if we just teleport to this area, it won't snapshot the monsters in here, so we have to go through here to snapshot the monsters. And I like moving forward just a little bit, make sure it works properly. So our next step here is to snapshot all of these monsters. And again, I like moving off a little bit. One sec. All right, and now another heads up, Temple of the Firstborn, if you don't get the bugs to pop out of the walls, they will also not screen grab or screenshot. So like right there, all of those bugs that just landed, now they're screenshot. Before they were not. And you saw how we just instant teleported right there? That only works when you're standing on the waypoints. So the one thing that I didn't go do is this one. Now it is pretty close. We could probably run to that real quick. All right. So there's that worm. And we cannot kill him or gain a level. So we're going to loop our way back and make sure that we get to the teleport. I thought that this was an actual cave, not a monster we had to kill. That's a bit of a bummer. Nobody die, please. There. Instant teleport. And now, if you're feeling like you're underpowered on console, what you can do is you can come over here to the Gardens of Hope, first tier. And we're going to make a little loop around here and go for these weapon racks. And see if you can get a little bit of damage or get that. Now, there's a lot of elites right there. I don't think we'll be able to go through there and stay alive. So we're just going to come right back. That was the wrong place to teleport. I usually teleport to a different area and then go to where I need to go. So let's go back to Zoltan Cool. And right here, you can see again, my health is low because I got hit by some of those monsters. If that happens, we're going to go back to town and heal up by talking to the girl with the potion. See that on the map there, the little heart, and she'll heal you the rest of the way. So let's just compare this. At 3.2, 8.4, that was a way better damaging weapon. Sometimes I get some good ones in there. Or if you don't want to do the thing in the beginning, you can give that weapon to your follower. We're fully healed, and we're ready to see if Zoltan Cool is going to kill us or not. All right. Now, you usually want to target the big guys here and just kind of keep throwing bone spikes at them and backing up. Watching out for, of course, Zoltan Cool is going to be very important. And watching out for those giant falling rocks. Now, the goal is to try and hit both of them at the same time and make sure that when they're almost dead, Zoltan Cool is near you. So there we go. He's almost dead there. Okay, I was a little bit too far away here. We got the other one on him, but I should have been a little bit closer. And now I've got Bone Spear. Now on console, this is where it gets tricky and he starts to do way too much damage. So I'll show you my little technique that I got there. All right. Now there's two things you can do here. One is to open this right away. The second one is to save this. Now, if you open it right away, you're going to get a whole bunch of gear, and that's going to make the next parts a lot easier. Probably the better option on hardcore. If you're not really worried about dying or you feel pretty confident, you can leave this here and come get it later. So I'm going to go ahead and try and leave it here. All right, and if you notice the switch, we are now on the PS5 console edition. Now, this is showcasing what happens if you don't equip your follower's weapon. You can see that I've got my regular axe in my hand. I've been spending a lot of time here moving around, absolutely fine, not really worried, and then Zoltan Cool kills you 100% just dead. So we had to make sure we have our follower item in, and now if you may notice, you see that little targeting thing above Zoltan Cool there. If you hit Zoltan Cool once and then hold down, in my case the L2 button, it'll auto-target just him, and you can walk forward while still targeting Zoltan Cool. You can see his health dipping down. So you want to focus on just Zoltan Cool on the console edition until his health's about halfway. Then you want to switch over to the remaining Guardian, and then you want to wait until he's nearby you to hit him with the explosion damage. So you can see we got the explosion damage. We're targeting Zoltan Cool again for a second. And now again, we want his health to be about a quarter of the way, or pretty close to it. And once it's about there, we're going to switch over and target the other Guardian, and then we want to hit him again with the explosion. So this is going to be the closest way to get him down to about 0. Here we've got enough damage. If we're quick enough, we're able to take him out before dying. So this isn't impossible on console. It's just extremely difficult. Now, that being said, I would recommend you do not save the cash over here that you got, or not the cash, sorry, the bounty here, and you open it right away. So we're going to go ahead and look at some other console stuff later. And hopefully we can get our 2 diamond for some of that. And that's going to be my portal. And now I'm going to teleport via the map the rest of the places. Now, usually you want to go by ones that are kind of hard first. And people who know their bounties really well are going to be able to figure this out instantly. Now, if you really want to, you can look up what each of these bounties are. I'm not going to be doing that simply because I feel like this is a way to save time. If you're spending so much time looking up which of the bounties are here and stuff and wasting time, it's not really worth it. Now, when you're talking about saving the cash and using the cash, if you use the cash, it saves you about anywhere between, I don't know, 40 minutes, maybe an hour or so, depending on what classes you're running and what you're doing. And that allows you to get through to this a couple days sooner. Are you going to come out of that hole? Thank you. This guy's pretty strong. Luckily, we snapshot him. We're using Corpse Explosion. We got to be careful not to over level. Are you coming back up again? There we are. You got to watch out for those little ground guys that pop up. They're extremely deadly. And I realized I didn't put on a pet, so we're going to put on that pet now. And we want to be checking these items as we get them. Anything that's better, go ahead and grab it. Throw on something to your follower occasionally here too. The more powerful he is, more likely he'll stay alive and be able to heal you. Now again, be careful for these worms in the ground. They're extremely deadly. Poison and stuff like that right now too is extremely deadly. We're going to be making our way over to almost every single chest that we can find and hope for an item. Any little extra item is going to give us a little bit more vitality and damage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make my way back. If I need to, I'm totally fine with going all the way back to the beginning and exiting this cave and coming back here later. So that's something to keep in mind, is don't force an area if you feel like it's too hard, if you feel like the elites are in a bad position, or if they're wallers or something like that. Just back up, make your way towards the exit where it's safe, and let your follower do some of the work for you. You can see he's dragging one of them away. Right now we're doing pretty good for damage. Alright, so we're in the Horrors level 2, and we got to be very careful here again. All of these guys should be level 5 now, which is a little bit dangerous. You can kind of see this here and just how long some of these will take to get out. Make sure anything you can attack from a distance, go ahead and do that. And I believe, oh yeah, our skill runes, we still don't have anything on them yet, so pretty soon we're going to unlock some stuff for that. Not right now. I try to blow up those egg sacs as well. So immediately right there, seeing those guys, and we're seeing how we're hitting for damage. It's not looking too free here. It's not looking too bad either. Now that I'm near the exit, I'm feeling a little bit more safe. Okay, he's got knocked back, and he hit me a couple times there for about half my health. So already I'm not liking that. I'm going to try and loop around and come do that again. Now this one we did go to earlier, and there should be 50 enemies in here. That's not that bad for enemies. That's not that bad for the amount of enemies, but sometimes you get one or two monsters in here that don't screen grab for whatever reason. Full of reflection. Alright. And the reason I'm doing this, by the way, on those corpses and stuff, is because I don't want to accidentally click on them later and then have a bunch of them on me. I do them a little early. Now, already up there, I can see that there looks like a couple threats. Guide enemies to corpses and reuse old corpses to kill new enemies. There's our rune. And we want to make sure that we're keeping an eye out for when we get skeletons, because those will be useful. Try not to use too many corpses if the enemies are kind of easy. So like there's an elite up there, he's going to come this way. We're going to try and guide him to where all these corpses are. Adding some new ones there. And I want the big guy to come this way. There we go, we hit him again, hit him again. Alright, not good to have a waller here. He might kill us. We're going to use these corpses here. If we can get rid of some of these smaller guys, we'll be fine. If we can't, we'll be dead. I'm going to back up towards the exit here. My potion's off cooldown. That's not good. Let's see if I can make a beeline towards the exit. I got healed there by the Templar that kept me in. Now I should be able to take one of them out here in a second. Give me another one. There we go. All right. And now we're left with just the big guy. And I'm pretty sure those elites didn't snapshot, and that was one of the things that I was talking about, where sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know which way to go for him over here. Let's see. Alright, how are you? You're not too bad. There's Gruul. Alright, once you get him, grab his loot and go. And that's the trouble with starting these T1 bounties, is sometimes it's a breeze, it's nice and easy going through. Other times you spend 20 minutes trying to save time, and in the process, if you just started the game like normal, you would have probably been already ahead of where you're at now. Now, of course, if it works, you do save a tremendous amount of time, and life is a lot easier. Now, we're going to hope that these guys drop us some items there. And they do, but it's a bow, which is not needed. Now, if I'm not mistaken, coming up here and doing these things, it can sometimes not screen grab the enemies properly. So we're going to be careful here. Try and kill the monsters your skeletons are targeting so they can assist you with the other monsters. If you find them out here like alone like that, take them out, and then they'll all focus on the elite. Now here we could see how much damage this elite actually has on him. Now he's not moving towards any of these corpses. We could drag him this way by walking away and having our skeletons come towards us. If we do that, he'll start moving a little bit further. There he is. And then we could kind of use some of these corpses over here to deal damage to him. All right. There we go. And always check these. As soon as you get a weapon, make sure if it's better, we're going to obviously want to put it on. We've reached level 11. So at level 11, we're going to grab that blade there too. We unlock our follower weapon with the Enchantress. So this is a major milestone, major damage increase. And this is when you want to start doing the hardest ones. So let's go ahead and look at our inventory and take that. Now again, that weapon that we found isn't really needed. Interesting. When you kill a fallen, you have a 12% chance to charm all other nearby fallen. I don't think I've ever seen an orange tag on a blue weapon before. I didn't know that that existed. I probably scrapped this thing a lot. So, now we're going to make our way over to the ones that we didn't do, and I'll skip to where we left off here. Alright, so this is where we were before. When we walked through the door, those enemies should still be pretty close there. Check your skills. I threw on Skeletal Mage, Gift of Death instead of the other skeletons because it's a lot better. I realized Sudden Impact actually didn't hit earlier, so I could put that on, or I could do Siphon Blood. One of the nice things about Siphon Blood is it does heal you, so really good in hardcore difficulty. We've got Bone Spear, Blighted Marrow now. Corpse Explosion at level 12, we're going to get Bloody Mess, and then of course I put on this Life from Death on the passive here. So there they are. And once you get in, start spamming these Skeletal Mages. A couple of these guys are going to help you out so much. And then you can see now we're actually dealing damage to these guys, and a few Corpse Explosions takes them out. So staying in this area stubbornly before is going to cause us to lose all the progress we made. If something looks a little sketchy, try an easier area, come back once you get this weapon, and see how it's going. Now, if you ever see a resplendent chest when going through any of these bounties and stuff, do not open it until after you've completed the bounty. I just went from level 11 to level 12 and completing one bounty, and I'm just a hair below 13. These chests go based on the level you are when you open them. So now we'll be getting some slightly better items. Resplendent chests are going to be a huge help for us here in the beginning because they're going to help us stay alive. And again, anything that's like specific to a follower, throw that on him, give him some more damage as well. Out of all of these things, I think this is probably the best. I'm not sure if you can equip it. You can. So now he's going to help take out the monsters just a little bit more. Most of the time when you die doing this, it's because of one small monster not getting out of the way or dying a little bit faster. So now the only thing we have left to do here is this last bounty. Now, one thing you have to be careful of as well is over leveling. You do not want to go too high through here. You want to be about 18, but any higher than that is not safe. And again, here we talked about the bugs. Go through, grab these weapons and crossbows, grab these chests where you can. The bugs aren't too much damage here, so they're not going to kill you in small groups, but a lot of them will. So, all right, so we have a cursed chest here. Something to be wary of with cursed chests is doing them will boost your experience a lot. And sometimes in the beginning, you can over level. And if you didn't go in one of those caves and you're level 16 going in, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So what I like to do is I like to activate the cursed chest and see where I'm at by dropping a major bounty. So you see we're at 15 here. And that probably means we can get another maybe 40 kills before we should probably stop engaging in this cursed chest. So You can tell how much you can do by keeping an eye at your health bar down the bottom. You got to remember, you're going to be getting some levels from completing the bounties as well. So, right about there, we're going to stop. I'm not going to do any more other than what I have to do to stay alive. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this if I can here. I don't want to get any higher. All right, there's 16. There's all those bugs we were warning about. I want them to come this way, so we're going to drag them a little bit. There we go. All right. And now we can see that we could return and claim our reward. Now we want a little bit more here. So we're going to loop back to some of those bugs that we had earlier and where the cursed chest is. And we're going to try and get to 18 in this area. There we go. And there's 18. And now that we're 18, we're going to open up this one. And this could give us some of the gems that we need right away. Usually it doesn't. And we're finally going to return back to town here. And then we're going to go through that portal that we saved earlier. And that should have us open up the Zoltan Cool chest. Maybe we'll get lucky and get our diamonds right away. Let's see. All right, so we got 1 diamond. So not as lucky as we could be. But the 1 diamond's still a pretty good start at the beginning here. And the most important aspect of this is doing this allows us to get the death breath that we need to level up the blacksmith over here. So we're going to open that. And then we're going to upgrade as high as we can. There's the death breath that we have there, and we need 50,000 gold. We're just shy of it. We're going to use some of our bounties. Before you scrap anything, again, double check these items. Make sure there's nothing better in here or anything you could throw on your follower that your follower might need. I've got a few items I could just throw in here. I do need a lot of these resources, so I'm not going to give him too much stuff. Just the occasional item here that isn't going to help me very much. If it's on me, that is. Oops, I don't know what I just did. Okay. And this right over here, again, very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm going to throw that in my stash. All right, and we're back with the console edition over here. And now you can see I'm utilizing that targeting skill to try and focus on just the elites or the thing that I want to damage. This is very difficult, I would say. You can see how slow it is. It's not very friendly on console again. I wouldn't recommend really doing this. I just wanted to show it is possible. Now, it is not hardcore friendly whatsoever. I confirmed this going through. I managed to not die whatsoever on 4 out of the 5 bounties, and by the 5th bounty or towards the end of the 4th bounty, that's when I started dying, and it was probably from over leveling just a little bit too much. So I wouldn't say, again, it's completely impossible, but highly likely that you will be failing when it comes to doing this. Now for the tips on console, you see that I'm dragging them to the corpses. I did everything I did on the PC edition, screenshotted the enemies, went through and tried to grab any extra damage or health from weapons that I could find available. And then I'm slowly making my way around the circles, making sure to clear some paths back so I can have something to return to, putting on my followers' healing abilities, and just kind of continuing through the bounties like normal here. So I hope that this will kind of help you guys out and maybe appreciate people who do this on console. It's clearly a different experience in the beginning for them. And this is just kind of showing off again some of that targeting there. You can see that I'm kind of able to just walk forward without turning back, and I can carry that enemy just hitting him. So really wanted to highlight that. I don't think I see a lot of people on console knowing that even exists or utilizing that whatsoever. And then the second thing that we have here is corpses, and you see how we got like 1 corpse there? We don't really want to blow it up until we get a good amount of other enemies, and we want to see how much damage we're doing to these other enemies before we actually blow them up. So we're going to get as much damage as we can from the pylons. We can roll on console. We're going to use that to our advantage, and we're going to drag this large group of enemies over to these corpses to fully explode them here. So you can see where that's starting to deal a lot of damage. It saves us a lot of time. It's not that risky right now. Here in the early levels, you can make a mistake and die. Obviously, we dragged some more enemies in from the right side of the screen, which I didn't really want to do right here. And it gets a little sketchy right there. We're trapped, we're stuck. So what we're doing is we're focusing on where we can get an extra corpse and then trying to blow them all up together. You see these Nephilim orbs that are on the ground? You lose almost all of your damage if you don't pick them up, so please pick those up. Now into the Temple of the Firstborn. We snapshotted the area like normal. No way in the heck are we getting inside of those portals, so we're staying out of them. And you watched me take all of the bugs and kind of leave them on the ground there. I want to have a whole group of corpses, especially on console, that I can fall back to if I run into some elites that are really hard to damage. So I'm going to try and clear my path back. I'm going to make my way towards where the monster is here that I need to do and use as much of the corpses as I can to my advantage. It's the only way you're going to be killing these guys. So if there's not a lot of monsters around, you have to drag the enemies towards where the monsters are. And already we've done a couple bounties. We've got skeletons unlocked. And since we just built up a pretty decent massacre there, we are able to go back to the main village and get the follower's weapon just like you can on PC edition. This is a huge boost in power. Now, here's where, again, I made kind of an error. I probably should have been more careful to not over level here. I probably should have just tried to stick at like almost exactly 11 on the dot. And I might have needed to switch around the order in which I did some of these bounties. I should have done the last one that I show in this video right here, but I did not do that, and woe is me, you know. So we're into the next area here, and we're using the skeletal mages here. And without the skeletal mages, it's going to be very difficult to go through here. Make sure you get the rune on them where they drop a corpse if they die, and that's just to show that I am in torment difficulty. See, we drag these enemies back to the other corpses on the ground, blowing them up, popping out skeletal mages. The skeletal mages distract them, and even still we kind of almost died here a couple times, so very close calls. I just wanted to show that off there, and that very easy to die. Here's where we actually ended up dying. This was primarily because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do through here. I made a slight mistake. I thought those corpses would blow everybody up fast enough, and I got hit for a lot more damage. Now, after killing those guys, we come back through again, and we're able to take out the rest with the skeletal mages. You can see that they do a pretty good job of cleaning through the enemies there. So, nice and quick, level 16. Now, we're a little high here, and that is not what we want. As soon as you over level, if you have a place where you have to go through multiple caves or multiple areas and you run into multiple sets of elites, they're just going to drag you down over and over again, and they're going to make it almost impossible for you to finish off this bounty or this mission here. So here's the last one that you have there. It's Enter the Tomb. I accidentally dragged a second group of elites here. Do not be fooled. I think I died like 8 or 9 times right here just trying to finish this off because this is the last one that I had to complete here. So extremely difficult, definitely not hardcore friendly, but is it impossible to do on softcore? Absolutely not. You can do this. We just have to kind of change a little bit of the techniques and methods that we use here and play it a little bit more cautiously. And it was rewarding us there with a little bit of a nice item at the end. So straight to level 10. And now the rest of this is going to continue exactly as it would on the PC. So I'm going to switch back over to the PC edition to finish this off here. That could also be given to your follower, I believe. So now we need to get our 1 diamond, but since we've already done that, we don't need to stay on Torment 1 difficulty anymore. We can immediately leave game and drop down to normal difficulty. Now at this point, it's going to be the exact same leveling that you're used to. We didn't die at all there, which is great. And one key thing to do to get the rest of the gold that you need is go ahead and run some Act 1 bounties. You're going to need to do it anyway. So here's the Skeleton King. Now, what I would recommend doing is... actually, let me check real quick for Act 2 in case Sultan Cool's here. Okay, he's not. What I would recommend doing is after getting your 2 diamonds that you need, go ahead and pick a higher difficulty to start on to do the Act 1 bounties and craft the highest weapon that you can. You should be able to craft about a level 60 weapon, maybe just under it, and that should help carry you through the normal Act 1 bounties. And the reason that you want to do that is because the gold that you get from those Act 1 bounties, if it's on Torment 1 or Torment 2, it will give you the rest of the gold that you need to level it up. So once you do that, you're at level 12, and then it's normal leveling, and you just need to get some items to finish leveling up. So One of the ways we're going to get those items is by going through areas like Temple of the Firstborn and clicking on all of those weapon carrier things, killing some elites and stuff like that when you see them here. Let's see if we can get a corpse. There we go. Because they drop, of course, items there. And sometimes they're better than what you're wearing, so you'll cycle them out. And when you have a bunch of gray items, all you need is a single death breath to convert to veiled crystals, and you'll be able to throw on some of that gear, which goes into running those other bounties on Torment 1. That'll give you that extra death breath you need to convert veiled crystals, which will allow you to craft level 70 gear on your item. Now, the only thing that we do need to do after this is getting the cube, and I'd recommend putting off the cube for when you've got that extra death breath to craft, if that makes sense. And you can see they got plenty of damage here. All right, and we got a spear. That's nice. And there's the rest of our diamonds. Go and upgrade our guy over here and get the flawless diamonds. Now, again, if you look at crafting, this will show you if you go over to like scythes, for example. There we go. You can craft a 204 damage one-handed scythe here, and two-handed scythes are going to probably give you the most bang for your buck, or two-handed axes even. So let's check that out. There's a 602 damage, and let's see how we're doing for two-handed scythes. 677. Just kind of compare for your class what works best. You can see we could craft 2 of them. I'm going to hit 1, and it's actually going to be a much higher damaging number than it is than it says there. So let me show you what difficulty we can run Torment on and still stay below levels to complete the bounty. All right, so we're on Torment 2. And Torment 2, if we watch with some of these skeletons here with our weapon, you can see we're absolutely crushing them and killing them no problem. Now here, I'd recommend just rushing objectives. You don't really want to gain a lot of levels here. What we're just looking to do is level up the rest of the blacksmith, clear through the bounties pretty fast. So we're just killing as necessary and staying alive. So I'm going to try crafting another one rather than waiting for those extra resources. And there it is. There's my vitality. And it's also a little bit more damage too. So I'm going to take this extra one that I have. Let's see, not the one I equipped. And put it in the stash in case something happens and I die if I'm on hardcore. Now I've got the extra one there. So you got 2 chances to get something good. Usually they roll with vitality, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Even if they don't, you're just going to have to be playing a little bit more cautious in the back and attacking from a distance. All right, now again, you probably should have waited to open that later on, because you could have leveled up some more, gotten some more diamonds, and gotten some more better resources here than what we currently have equipped on us. But it's an impulse for me to open it, so I did that a little before I should have here. And one other thing that I forgot to mention that is super important is in the beginning, right when you go to the boss to go deal with him on all of these bounties, you can travel to each of these areas and snapshot the enemies. Now, my plan is to not build up too much, too many levels so that the enemies aren't that difficult for what we have equipped. But you could probably do that and save you a little bit of effort. Now let's go ahead and take a peek here. We're at 159,000 after running through that entire area, which is already pretty good. And it looks like we just gained another 200,000. We got that extra death breath that we need. We got some more plans as well. And you can get some of those items for like a Ring of Royal Grandeur for Act 1 and stuff here, if possible. We got some better gems. Now we'll be able to pop this guy all the way back up to level 12. And we got that other death breath that we needed there, as well for converting veiled crystals. So let's go ahead and salvage what we have here. And again, make sure you look through some of those items. All right. And let's see how we're doing for resources. So we need a little bit more reusable parts to start using that death breath to our advantage. And one of the ways that I recommend doing that is, again, just running through and doing some of the bosses and stuff on each of these areas. They'll give you a few. You can reset the area a couple times if you want to, or just running straight to Temple of the Firstborn Act 2. So let me leave game real quick. Now we've already got a decent amount of Veiled Crystals from just doing that bounty. So let's see if we can craft anything like a two-handed spear, or two-handed sword, I mean. Scythe. Jeez, I can't say it right. So right there, that's the two-handed scythe. We can craft up to 5 items. So we would want to craft that. Put it on. Now we've got the most damage that we can. Again, this isn't lacking vitality, but we do have some 19,770 life per hit, which is pretty good. And then we want to go and craft some chest armor and some pants, probably. Let's see. Pants. Okay. And with just those 2 things, and then running through Temple of the Firstborn, because we got to build up our massacres now and start getting in those visions and stuff, you can see that our damage is doing great. We already got a legendary item. That's kind of funny. All right, we have our vision now. Do your best to do all of your leveling inside of the visions, because you can see there's far more items that drop nice and easy. I wouldn't full clear an area unless you're a little bit deeper along. So like here's nice and early on, and you can see that a few items are dropping, but later on this would be a far greater amount. And then using Corpse Explosion. All right, and when the items on the ground start to really stack up, that's when you want to start full clearing. Again, I'm targeting gray items if I can. Just got a legendary through here as well. Most of the time when you want to walk through an area, you want to activate your skeletal mages, let them pop you a couple corpses, and then circle back and explode them all. Again, target these gray and white items here. Okay, so we can take care of the bosses here, but it's not very free. We just took a hit there. I wanted to see how much we'd take. And now if you want, if you have some time and you know there's some more loot in previous areas, you can go back while this timer's counting down and just pick up any extra things on the ground. Again, try to target blue items. You don't really need very much of the yellow. Okay, let's take a look at our resources now. We have 8 Death Breath. We're at 573 reusable parts, 123 Arcane Dust, and 55 Veiled Crystals. We've got some to convert. So now all we really need to do is go over and get the cube and then just continue through the season journey. So this isn't too big of a deal. I've been doing this for about an hour and 14 minutes so far, and I'm pretty set up to be close to level 60. I'm at level 48 now, and I'm on Torment 2. But the Necromancer is so strong that it can run Massacre bonuses and Torment 2. It'd probably take me another 20 minutes or so to get to level 70 and get the rest of the stuff that I need. So this wasn't overall too bad of a process here. And I did farm a little bit extra or a little bit more than I needed to, just as a fallback option. In case, again, if we were running hardcore, we were to die, we would want some of that extra loot to be able to get right back up here. So I hope this was a good video for you guys. Let me know if you have any critiques on it, or anything that you guys do to make the run more smooth, or anything that you'd recommend doing instead. This is probably one of the healthier mixes that I could think of between console and PC to make it so that console players can do the no cash recommendation for the bounties here. Although, again, it is extremely difficult. And I would say that if you're not very precise, or if you die fighting Zoltan Cool the first time, maybe give it one more try. If that doesn't work, go ahead and just do the recommended method of going to get the cube, doing some massacres along the way, hit 18, get your diamonds, and then once you have your diamonds, just run bounties until you get enough materials to level up your blacksmith here. So thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Bye.